Is it news?
Corleone is a man who insists on hearing bad news immediately.
Or just noise?
Are you going to act like this is news? Just noise. This is noise.
Let's separate the impactful from the insignificant with one simple question. News or noise?
All right, news or noise, let's get into it. Where better to start than in Jets country? Because what would a Lombardi line be without talking about the Jets quarterback situation, Michael? Zach Wilson was renamed the starting quarterback in New York yesterday and told media after the announcement that the report saying he was reluctant to reclaim his spot as the starting QB is absolutely inaccurate. News or noise?
I don't think that two reporters would make that up. I mean, I think it's news that the story came out. I think now that we're dealing with it, it's become noise. He's now named himself the starter, so it's just move on. And now, I think I read this, Stormy. I don't know if I'm right or not, but Saleh said that he's going to be the starter for the remaining of the year no matter what.
He said, God willing.
God willing, yes. Is there ever, I mean, can we get any consistency at all from the Jets when they get to the podium?
Well, I loved when Robert Saleh said, we always believed that Wilson was the best quarterback in terms of giving us the best chance to win. Yet, how many weeks ago was he just pleading the fifth? And then as recent as Monday, saying, I'm not so sure. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to go there. So, okay, you do you, Robert Saleh and the Jets. Jets, by the way, down from a 5.5-point underdog to now 3.5 with the move of Zach Wilson at starting quarterback. They are hosting the Texans in Week 14. More quarterback news. Stars Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen both popped up on the injury report this week ahead of their Bills-Chiefs game on Sunday. Allen has a lingering right shoulder injury. Mahomes with a pectoral issue. Despite those designations, though, both quarterbacks full participants on the practice sheet. News or noise, Michael? Cause for concern here?
I think if they get hit, it's concerned. I mean, they obviously put it on the report for a reason. I mean, you know, the one thing is people don't want to put that on the report unless because there could be potential they have to take them out. No, why weren't you reporting this? So I do think it's news here, and you always are worried about both guys getting hit and both guys having to come back from it and seeing how they react. We know Allen's been dealing with the shoulder for a while. Remember, he went in the blue tent. I forget what game it was. Maybe it was the Denver, the Giant game. He went in the blue tent. I think it was the Giant game, yeah. And so we are worried about that. The Mahomes thing, to me, is news because we never heard this before.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, especially because we all remember Joe Burrow when he was walked into the building with that cast-looking thing on his wrist and then ends up being done for the season after that game with an injury that nobody had even known was something that was on the radar prior to that. So really, really good point there. Big game with the Chiefs and Bills for playoff position, so important one for Buffalo. It's been a little bit over a week since Frank Reich was let go in Carolina. More information has come out about some of the dysfunction in the organization. A report from The Athletic says the Panthers' culture has been described as the Hunger Games. If you've never read or seen the Hunger Games, it's kind of about like survival and backstabbing and literally killing anybody that is around in order to win the game that is the Hunger Games. And so, according to this report, Michael, coaches said they believed other staff members were text messaging owner David Tepper behind Reich's back about some issues they saw with the team. In one instance, Scott Fitterer, the GM and an offensive coach, went to Tepper with a coaching suggestion for the quarterback, and Tepper instructed Reich to work on Bryce Young's footwork. There's a whole lot more to this, Michael, but news or noise that the culture in Carolina is like the Hunger Games, survival of whoever can be out there.
I do think it's news because I do think that's the issue. I do think, and I've said this when Mr. Tepper has stepped into my office, that he needs to throw away his phone. I think he's involved. And whenever the owner is the main guy that people go to, you got problems. You have problems. And so when the owner's not aligned to the head coach or aligned to the philosophy, you're going to have problems. I do think this is complete news, and I think this is going to deter people from wanting to go in there if they don't fix this issue.
Ben Johnson, reportedly one of the top candidates on the Panthers' radar. Of course, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, North Carolina native. DJ Chark, by the way, was quoted as saying, I can honestly say I don't think Reich was the only problem, so everything's just fixed now. We've still got a lot of things to fix. And yeah, you're a 1-11 football team in the worst division in football. It's not exactly looking up right now for Carolina. Don't tell my husband I said that. I still need the locks to be the same when I get home. Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence, Michael. He missed practice yesterday with a high ankle sprain, but head coach Doug Peterson's yet to rule out the franchise quarterback for Sunday's game coming up against the Browns. Lawrence told Reporter Wednesday, though, his ankle feels much better than he anticipated and is happy with how his rehab has gone so far. He's hopeful he can be cleared to play. News or noise?
I think it's news. I mean, I don't get the sense that Trevor is a guy that tries to embellish anything. You remember we went through the same thing when he was getting ready to play Tampa Bay
with the
down
knee
in
injury.
In the knee. And he came back. And, just because we hear high ankle sprain, we immediately attach 6 weeks to it, right? Well, maybe he really doesn't have a high ankle. Maybe he just has a sprain. Maybe he has something that's different. We're not there. I don't think he would come out and say he's going to try to play if he didn't think he could. Now, I will say if the line doesn't start to move a little bit back to him, then he's not playing. The line moved away from him with the certainty that Beathard was going to be the quarterback. Now, Beathard's hurt too, Stormy, which makes all of this news, right? It makes all of it news because, they're going to have to, if Beathard can't go, then would they sign another quarterback? Would they, or are they just going to go ahead and play, are they just going to go ahead and play and take the kid off the practice squad, the kid from Canada that they have on the practice squad? Are they going to take him and move him up? Or because that would only give them 2 in the game and one of them would be hurt. See, Nathan Rourke is on their practice squad. Okay?
Yeah.
So he'll get activated for the game if Lawrence can't play.
Yeah.
But let's say they're unsure that Beathard can play. They're going to need to have another one too, and they haven't done that this week.
Yeah, shoulder for Beathard, and of course the high ankle sprain for Trevor Lawrence. Peterson said Lawrence won't play unless there's no chance he could further damage his ankle, so that's still to be seen. But to your point, the line certainly indicates as if it is not going to be Trevor Lawrence out there. They're getting 3.5 points against the Browns. Lawrence has not missed a start in his NFL career since he was drafted in 2021. Regardless, though, of whoever is at quarterback, potentially without your left guard because Walker Little, who stepped on Trevor Lawrence, was also injured in the game, and he's left tackle 2 with Cam Robinson on injured reserve, and Christian Kirk is going to be unavailable because he had to have core muscle surgery. One more here. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell wants to see the Eagles' tush-push removed from the league permanently. According to Diana Rossini, the play was discussed by the NFL's competition committee last offseason, but was not brought up for a vote. News or noise, Michael? Goodell wants this out of the game.
I think it's news. I do think he wants it out. I think a lot of people want it out of the game. I never thought it should be in the game. I didn't think you could aid in a runner from behind. I didn't think it was. I mean, look, credit the Eagles for mastering this. Not only doing it and inventing it, but mastering it because they do it better than anybody. I was watching the game against the Cowboys again, and they're so good at doing it. It's unbelievable. So for me, you take it out of the game, it hurts them. But look, I don't think it's a good play for the health of the team.
A 4th and 1 is a first down if you're in Philadelphia, that's for sure. Travis Kelce on the New Heights podcast with Jason said, Goodell just made our lives a whole lot easier outside of the Eagles organization. And typically, when the commissioner wants something done, it gets done. Jason, meanwhile, said, quote, I don't have the energy to care about whether it gets banned or not, and added, hey, we were 36 of 38 on QB sneaks before the push. So there's that. Oh, fun. That podcast, they've done a really good job with that, actually, Jason and Travis. It's been fun.
And I think, look, the one thing is what nobody talks about enough is the fact that Hurts is so good with his leg movement. I mean, that's what makes it so effective, right? I mean, he is so good with his leg movement, and he's able to generate power. I mean, you see a lot of times when they do that, it just stops, right? There's no movement. And yet he does a great job of getting movement and creating. He gets 2-3. I mean, they can run it from the 3-yard line and get it in. Yeah,
it's not just the strength, but the strength and power mixed in with that movement for sure. And that's why when we talk about the MVP conversation, so many of his touchdowns and some of his like moving the chains numbers that he gets, Jalen Hurts on first down, are from that tush-push play. So I don't know how much we can warrant that into the MVP discussion. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, we have to see, that's why we need to get that segment, Michael. I don't know how we're going to frame it, but the I'm just saying segment needs to happen. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, I'm just saying it does.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.